You are now tuned in to Today with Pastor Jay on WNZF News Radio, where we discuss inspiring and informative news. And now here's your host, Pastor Jerlyn Denny.
Good morning, good morning. Wake up, good morning. It's a wonderful and beautiful day in sunny Florida. And of course, I am not on the East Coast. No surprise there. I am on the West Coast. I'm in Sanibel. And my highly esteemed guest is none other than Missy Lostra. She is from Cape Coral, Florida, and I'm so excited to have her here. She's the founder and the president of Women of Distinction Awards Program and Gala. She's a Republican Christian conservative activist and the co-host of the Conservative Perspective podcast. And I must say, she is also a 2025 She Leads Florida honoree. So thank you so much, Missy, for just joining me today.
Okay, so I always call you Pastor J. Is that going to fly here?
Always.
Okay, great,
always.
Pastor J. Well,
always.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me on today. No, just excited to be on the show and have some fun with you and, ask questions away. But yes, we are coming from sunny Southwest Florida, except for it does rain every afternoon. I had to teach you guys that yesterday, right? Sometime between afternoon and early evening, it's going to rain at least one time because we are in our rainy season here. But you are on the beautiful island of Sanibel. And
this is beautiful over here. Oh my goodness.
And Hurricane Ian, I don't care what the federal government at that time said, they didn't want to rate it a Category 5. It was a Category 5 hurricane with an 18-foot wind surge. Not wind surge, I'm sorry, flood, 18-foot surge, water surge. And it decimated this island. And you're seeing it is so far improved and so much better than it was nearly 3 years ago. But you're still seeing the decimation from that horrible event. So thank you so much for coming out here and supporting our island here.
Yeah, I just had dinner at one of the local restaurants, and it just opened up just a few days ago. It had been closed since then. I believe that there was a sign that said closing after 391 days. Yes.
So after this horrible hurricane just getting on the island, we didn't have a bridge to get out here. So the only way out here for several weeks was by boat. And the waters were treacherous. Houses, shopping centers literally washed into the ocean.
Some of the restaurants have been closed for over 800 days.
Yes, this is true. They're opening up one by one, but not all are opening back up. So the Dairy Queen that you see, you probably drove by it, has not reopened. And I don't know the status of that, but that was an iconic spot here on the island because it was the only chain that was allowed on the island. And it had been here for so long that it kind of got grandfathered in. So yes, and I'm sure they would be allowed to reopen if they chose to do so, but they still have not reopened.
So how did Governor DeSantis help and aid in getting this bridge reopened?
I have to say, he must have had a house or somewhere that he could just stay down here because after that devastating hurricane, decimated Sanibel, Captiva, Pine Island, Cape Coral, and beyond, he was here daily. So he was here removing obstacles from state government obstacles and putting resources into us before we could ever even think about getting money from FEMA, which I don't even think we've still gotten it all. But having said that, he was here removing obstacles for us. And two main obstacles. One was Pine Island's bridge was washed out. And two, and you just came over the Sanibel Causeway twice. That's a long bridge, right?
It's a very long bridge. That bridge was gone?
The entire center part of it was gone. And so, government doesn't always move to our speed, right? So government was trying to tell us that it would be 6 months before we got the very small Pine Island Bridge built and probably 1 to 2 years before we got the Sanibel Bridge built. So what does that do to the homeowner and the business? It means, first of all, no tourism, no customers. And then, of course, how do you get back and forth to your home? You can't do everything by boat unless you actually already own a very large boat that can carry materials and all of this stuff. So it was just devastating to us because you've cut off communities from the mainland. So he got with DOT, Florida DOT, and removed the obstacles. The Pine Island Bridge, he let local builders build it. They didn't have to go, they're great builders. They've been with us for a long time. And it took 3 days to do that bridge that they said was going to take at least 6 months. And because of that, he was able to facilitate Publix reopening on Pine Island and on Santa, which is huge. That's huge to have, it was the only grocery store out there. So same thing here. What was supposed to take 1 to 2 years, and they were telling people it wouldn't be safe to live on the island for 1 to 2 years. He got this bridge done in about 2 weeks. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm telling you, it is beautiful. The water is clear. It's nothing like the East Coast. So how long have you lived over this way?
15 years. I moved from Miami in January 10th, 2011. So almost 15 years. We're going on 15 years. And I lived in Miami for 25 years. I loved it. I love that area of the state. I love this area. This is my home. But I'm originally from northeastern Kentucky. From my grandparents had a cattle farm, and learned hard work on the farm.
You categorize yourself as a Republican, Christian, conservative activist. Exactly what is that? That's a lot.
I get involved in a lot of stuff. So
okay.
You mentioned the Women of Distinction. It started, that's just one of many things, but back in 2015, I was a little frustrated with the media. I was a lot frustrated, I'll be honest, with the media, portraying Republican women as, older women that voted the way their husbands told them to vote, that had plenty of money and really didn't care about people. And when I looked around my community, which at that time was still a new community to me in Cape Coral, I'd only been there about 4 years, I saw all these women running around taking care of problems that needed to be fixed by raising the money, doing the work, and not even looking back, not even saying somebody recognized me, because they don't do it for that reason. They do it because it's their community. And as I got to know these women, I realized they were all Republican women. And I'm not saying other party affiliations don't help their communities. I'm not saying that at all. We are in a very heavy Republican area here. So it's just natural that I'm going to run into more Republican women. But I thought, well, we need to dispel that misnomer, and we need to start giving, rewarding and recognizing women, honoring them for their acts of kindness in the community that they just do to make their community better. They're not doing it for a paycheck. They're not doing it, and nothing wrong with getting a paycheck, but I'm just saying they're doing it because it needs to be done, and they're not asking anybody to recognize them, but it is so much fun to recognize them. So that's one of the things we do. And so we are a partisan organization, Women of Distinction. We're pretty clear about that. And we make sure that our money goes to the Francis Keogh Second Chance Scholarship, which also goes to Republican women who need a hand up to change their career, to improve their career, to improve their income levels. We've given scholarships to women who wanted to become nurses later in life, or maybe.
So how many scholarships have you given out so far?
Well, I'd have to ask my scholarship chair, but I would say for the last 7 years, we've given out 2 to 3 a year. So what is that?
Okay.
And they average about $2,500. So you don't have to go to college, although some do, but maybe they want to get a real estate license and get started in the real estate industry. We'll start paying those fees to get them set up there, and their licensing and their testing and all of that. We will write them a check and they spend it how they need to. If they need to use that scholarship to help with childcare, so they can take some, we're good with that too. So we are not saying, oh, it has to be used for A, B, C, and D. No, they tell us what they want to do. Maybe they want to become a cosmetologist. It's a second career. Or maybe we have a school teacher that needs 2 certifications to be able to do something she's really passionate about with our more, underserved community. So, we don't say you need to go to a brick and mortar college, although you can. Maybe we have one girl who wanted to get a master's and become a social worker from her previous degree. So just, they just really, the only criteria is that they are a registered Republican and they want to improve their circumstances.
Over the years, you've had so many women nominated, and there have been story after story after story. Can you think of one that have maybe touched your heart?
Well, our scholarship is named after Francis Keogh, who passed away, God rest her soul, at the ripe old age of 98. And Her husband worked all around the world, and she helped women all over the world. She was the first female executive of Ma Bell, if that tells you how far that goes back. And she helped women break into the workforce who were in situations where maybe there was no longer a husband and father around, or maybe there was an abusive situation around where the woman needed to leave with her children but had no way to support themselves. She helped women get out of those situations and get into the workforce and improve the situation for themselves and their children. And that was very meaningful to give that award. We were, I can tell you, we have women that are anywhere from providing food services to the needy to doing the really, really difficult work of people that have been, and I don't want to mention a name on this one, but because she's still doing the work, but really taking women out of sex trafficking, human trafficking, and into the arms of Jesus, and getting their life on track through Jesus, getting them out of that dangerous, horrible situation, and getting them into the arms of Jesus and letting Jesus guide their path. It takes Jesus to get someone out of addiction, to get someone out of that world, to help them get back into what we call normalcy. You need Jesus for that. I don't really see people do it that don't have him. And there may be another way that I don't know about. So I don't, I'm not saying it's the only way, but it's the only way I've seen.
It's the only way that works that I know about as well. How has your faith increased? When you think about this awards gala and meeting all these different women, how has your faith increased by just touching these lives, touching yours, and you touching these other lives?
So I just am so grateful for everything that has been put in my path by our God, right? That I know that this wasn't as maybe as ignorant as I was to thinking I was guiding my path. I know now I'm not. I'm pretty clear that it's not me. I'm not in charge. And, when you ask, you shall receive. And it may not be exactly what you asked for, but you'll know that was what you were meant to receive. You'll figure, at least I figure it out. I always love when you tell me God speaks to you. I don't think I'm there yet, but I know that he spoke to me after the fact. If that makes sense. Does that make sense? Like, I'm like looking forward to when I have that level of discernment that I know he's talking to me, So, yeah.
He does. All right, guys, we got to take a break. Don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to Today with Pastor Jay.
My name is Leslie Giscombe, and I am with the African American Entrepreneurs Association, and we are delighted to be a sponsor of Today with Pastor Jay. We have a free nationwide business directory listing. You can pick that up on aaeassociation.org. Our 800 number is 1-800-671-1397.
Welcome back. You are listening to Today with Pastor Jay, and I have my highly esteemed guest, Missy Lastra, and before the break, she was talking about how God speaks to her after the fact, but he speaks to you before the fact, but sometimes we're just not listening. I had to tune in, Missy. I really had to tune in. So a few years ago, you started with Women of Distinction, Inspirational Woman of the Year Award, which I'm going to tell you, so very proud that I was a recipient of that award last year. In fact, I love the award. I've shown everyone. I probably have texted to everybody. I cried like a baby, and I felt like the Lord was just saying, okay, you have arrived, that I could inspire someone. And I remember you telling, we were on the phone, we were just discussing different matters, and you said, you know what, Pastor Jay, I want you to be the Inspirational Woman of the Year this year. And I went, me? Why me? And I recall speaking last year, not knowing what I was going to say. I had all these things I was going to say, and the Lord had me say some things. And at the end, there were men in the group, and they came up to me in tears, really in tears, thanking me, because there were some things I thought I shouldn't have shared. And it was the very thing that the Lord needed me to say. So how has that award, the Inspirational Woman of the Year? So this is I was the third recipient, right? Mm-hmm. You're getting, and I'm in good company. I mean, because you've given it to, I'm telling you, Casey DeSantis, she got it 1 year. Ashley Moody received it. Then I received it. And now Dr. Alveda King is about to receive it. She'll be the fourth recipient. So talk about being in good company. I don't even consider myself to be that caliber, but apparently God does, right?
God does. And he whispered, I guess you say this the best, he whispered your name in my ear, but talking to you on the phone, we weren't even really talking about this. And I was looking at all the things you do with the food service and the health, just everything you do in your community, your ministry, your She Leads Florida. You have so many, I guess, pots on the stove or you know, that I'm sitting there going, she's an Inspirational Woman of the Year. She is. And I just outright burst out and asked you right there without even asking my board, but they were all in, like, it wasn't even like a question, because it was just, you know, and it's just been, I got to tell you, it's been a pleasure to know you, and you are very humble. You were shocked, and you asked me, can I just talk about anything? I said, yeah, you can talk about anything here. And you weren't sure, but it worked out, right?
It worked out. And to be able to turn around, and this year I was able to honor you for She Leads Florida.
Thank you so much.
What was that experience like for you?
So that was really
women of distinction is kind of like a Lake County thing. And then we have the Inspirational Woman of the Year, which could be anyone worldwide, right? And then She Leads Florida is all of Florida. And I recall, remember I was talking to you, we were discussing some other nominees, and I kept saying, no, you've got to attend She Leads Florida. You got to get it. If you don't attend, you just don't get it. So how did you
attend?
Yes. You have to attend.
Well, I got to tell you, I told, you know, from the beginning, you know, first of all, I knew it was going to be something special because of you, but you don't really know what you don't know till you get there. And just networking with these ladies, and nobody knows who anybody is, which is different from the event that I do here. Everybody's just the same, right? Nobody knows who anybody is. And
which is by design, by the way.
I know that about you now, but at the time you're just talking to ladies, and they're just wonderful, humble, God-fearing women, right? And some of them had their husbands and spouses or loved ones there with them. And it was just a place where once the program began, I felt like I was in church, but not just any church. Like, I was in a church, and God was there too. Jesus was there with us. He was like singing with us, you know, hanging out with us. So then when you are, we had to line up to get our honorarium. I want to say that right. And, you know, and everyone around me was just the most amazing women, you know, and I don't know what they did. I don't know what their titles were, but the work they were doing and what they cared about in their communities was amazing. And so I was like, wow, I don't know that I even deserve this, because these women are truly amazing. But
are you crazy? You're amazing. Have you met you?
But I do get it. So I get it now. And I can't wait to nominate women, because now, and you were asking, you know, me to nominate women, and I nominated a few women, and then they would have been great. They would be great. They were great honorees. But now my mind is full of women who I know that I've worked with throughout the years, who is doing this work, and they're doing it in the name of Jesus, and they're doing it for their communities. And they're not asking for titles, and they're not asking for a pat on the back even, but it's so nice, I guess, when you do get it, right? So when you do get it, it's like, wow.
When you get it, you get it. You get it. Now you're co-hosting a Conservative Perspective podcast,
right?
What is that going to be like?
So we're getting ready to launch it, and it's interesting because my co-host Dwayne Moore, he has a very solid, strong media background, and we are going to be co-interviewing Dr. King tomorrow night. And so you're going to get a taste of it. So we really have amazing leaders come on, and it's like you're sitting in your living room and having a conversation. And obviously, we're both very faithful folks. He's a minister himself, and we definitely intertwine that, but we also have politics involved. So we're both very strong with conservative leadership in our community. We want Christian conservative leadership in our communities leading. I think it's the only way your government has a chance, really. And I'm not saying, listen, I believe in religious liberty and people can worship how they want. So I just, want to see people that have those morals and those, that they honor integrity and the same conservative moral values. For me, Christian conservative goes hand in hand. It really does. Okay. I work with another organization called Christian Family Coalition, and they actually lobby for Christian family values at the state and local level. So they're the people that will show up to your school board or your county commission or your state, they lobby the state house for bills that promote and defend Christian family values and bills that would not be good for Christian family values. Right. And they're very, very successful. So, if you want a voice, if you want to have your Christian voice heard in government, we need to pay attention to government. And that might not be for everybody, but that definitely is for me.
There's been a lot of podcasts popping up. No one's paying attention to the news media anymore, the regular news media. There's a ton of podcasts. Why do you think they're so popular now?
Well, because of that, because you had the mainstream media controlling the narrative. And I think people figured it out and they got smart to it. And so there's many other alternative media sources now. And if you look at what President Trump did in his election, and the people talk about, his son turning him on to different podcasts. And he went on Joe Rogan and he went on a lot of different things. So you're getting more of the, how do you say it? I use this a lot, the real deal. You're getting the real deal on these podcasts, and it's more, it's closer to the person, to the actual person. So I think that, and there's a podcast for everything you can ever imagine. But on the political side, which I'm more knowledgeable about, we were getting blocked by the mainstream media. We were getting blocked by Facebook. We were getting blocked by Twitter. The typical avenues to get our messaging out. And it just was too much. It was too much. So that was not what the press was designed to be. The press was not designed to do that. It should be an open forum for everyone. They had control of it. And we, on the right, we allowed them to take control of that and our education through the unions and a lot of different things. But the mainstream media was one thing that we kind of were snoozing at the wheel, and we let them get control of, and then we had no voice. So with all of these podcasters and alternative media streams and outlets, this is how we get our message out. And the mainstream media, some of them are dying on the vine, and they better wise up, or they're just moving aside and letting other avenues take over.
I agree. All right, guys, we got to take another break. Don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to Today with Pastor Jay.
Hey, this is James Bellino, pastor of Church on the Rock, and I want to personally invite you to our services on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Our church is located at Route 1 in Bunnell, and we offer a service that seeks the Holy Spirit to be led and guided in the kingdom of God's people coming together to be trained and equipped, and then to be sent out into the community. Christ said to make disciples, to go throughout the earth, and that's our call, and that's our belief at Church on the Rock. Visit our website at churchontherockpc.com.
Immediately following Today with Pastor Jay at 8:30 a.m., You'll go from hearing me on a talk show to hearing me in my church service. Join me, Geraldine Ministries Reverse Church, by dialing in 904-701-7177. Listen, you don't have to get up to go to church now. You can just call in 904-701-7177. Dial in and listen to the Word of God today.
Welcome back. Welcome back. I want to give a thank you and a shout out to Church on the Rock. And I want to thank my guest, Missy. So we only have a couple of minutes left. So I want to ask you, what else is there for you? You have so many hats that you are wearing, like myself. So what's next for you? I mean, you have the podcast, you have the Women of Distinction. You're doing a lot of stuff. I know you do some political things in the background. So what's next for you?
So I love the political world, and I do have, a side. It's not a side business; it's a business where I help people get elected in various ways. A lot of it is local, but I've been on presidential campaigns. I've been a regional director for President Trump in 2019 and 2020, and we won, by the way. But we definitely won my area, and we definitely won Florida. But having said that, I've been on 2 different presidential campaigns. And then I'm on a governor's campaign right now. And for the next governor of the great state of Florida, we're expecting that to be pretty, we got a really good candidate. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Well, we'll be looking out for your candidate. And I want to thank you so very much for joining me today and for taking time. And I'll see you later today, because I think my husband is going to be putting some steaks on the grill. And you got to bring your husband over?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Bring your husband over?
You tell us what time.
Whatever time you decide to get here, we'll enjoy it, okay?
All right.
All right. God bless you. All right, guys. You know what I say? Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow's not promised. What are you going to do today? Today, do something special. Do something nice this weekend. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy your family, and believe that God loves you. I love you too, and there's not a thing you can do about it. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.